To explore Celtic or Celtic art in more depth, and today I'm just totally enmeshed. The knotwork and the maze patterns I'm just totally enmeshed. To say the least, captivating, if not, yeah, quite involved. But I haven't looked back. I've been all over Europe looking at museums and galleries and so forth, and I have a collection of slides of Celtic work that's, must be close to 2,000. Off with the design on paper.
Okay.
And this is the design, and we're planning on putting a turquoise in the center of this.
Okay.
So this design is then transferred to the metal, and when complete, we will solder the bezel in there, and then later on, basically you will end up with a buckle with the loop for the belt and the pin for the adjustment, and all of the work that I do is stamped with my trademark, a hallmark, and the Canadian maple leaf. Once this is copied, I have to go over it with a very sharp stylus to create an impression in the mylar.
Okay.
When that is done, and this is where a lot of the jewelers think they're onto a trade secret, which is nonsense. You'll find that there's a tiny little groove in the mylar. Then you put putty over the top, just like children's Play-Doh. You roll it over the top, and the residue that stays on there, you turn that over and apply it to the metal. I didn't think you'd be able to do that. So the design is on here. You put it onto the silver and you rub it really hard, and where the grease is, of course, that's left alone, but where there isn't any grease, that's the outline of the pattern.
Okay.
Now once you have that outline, then you have to go over it with a sharp scriber, not an engrave, and just trace that pattern. When that is done, it goes onto the block and you start engraving it. Then later on, to get the contrast that you see in here, this stippling is done with a different tip. And the reason that this stippling is there, in the Celtic manuscripts from the 6th century, all the lettering, the large illuminated pages, the letters were surrounded with stippling in red, and this made them stand out. So basically I'm doing exactly the same thing with the jewelry to make this stand out, and you'll see it in all of the buckles.
Okay.
Through circle craft, I have had a couple of scholarships, and I went to Ireland, and an old craftsman, one of the last silversmiths in Ireland, he taught me a lot of stuff that I know. The rest I probably picked up from my father, who was a silversmith, but he didn't teach me as much as he could have, because he was sent to a labor camp in Germany during the war. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but you know, life is what it is. So this is a progression of the tooling of the belt, then the masking, the black color is applied and the background is now removed, the mask is removed, and you end up with a finished belt. When I'm stuck for a project, I do numbers like this. circle craft, it wasn't just circle craft, it was a circle craft cooperative. And that's always intrigued me because it means that craftspeople working with each other to create things. That's what you have with the crafts. You give pleasure to someone and the pleasure comes back tenfold. And that's what it's all about.